I believe our very lives are a matter of stewardship. The way that we use what we have matters to the one who made us. He intended for us to manage this life and all that comes with it. This is a podcast to connect the dots of all the ways we manage the substance of our lives, from hard work to housework, from relationships to identity, from purpose to desires, wellness, creativity, and everything that makes up our lives. This is a sisterhood centered on Christ. On this podcast, I'll be sharing thoughts and transparent talks on what God is teaching me as I wear these different hats and manage various things just like you do, only differently, in my own style for His glory. Listen in. You are listening to episode 43 of the Style and Stewardship podcast. So in this episode, I am actually going to take it back to something that I spoke about actually on episode 20, and that was about wellness. But we're not going to just talk about wellness. Specifically, first, before we get into anything, this is a medical disclaimer. I am a certified holistic nutritionist. However, I am not your nutritionist. Anything that I talk about, or anytime you want to switch up your diet or add supplements or anything of that nature, please consult your physician. And lastly, nothing I say is going to be deemed as medical advice, nor is it to treat or cure or diagnose any issue that you may have. Okay. Now that that's out of the way. The last episode, it wasn't the last episode, the episode that I did with my husband, I will link that in the show notes, about how he stewards his life and the different things that are important to him from this stewardship standpoint. One of the things that I mentioned, I believe, in that episode was not necessarily a word for the year, but God has been speaking something to my heart through my circumstance and through His word in so many loud ways. And one of those things is to simplify. That's for me personally. I don't know what the last couple of years have been like for you, but for us, if you've listened to that episode, things can be pretty chaotic for us and a lot of, things going on at one time. We travel a lot, and there are a lot of different things that are really unique to our life that there might be some people that can kind of relate to it. And it causes us to really have to be intentional about certain things that we do. One of those things is wellness through nutrition, wellness through moving our bodies, through exercise, through getting sleep, through taking some of the supplements that, we personally, need to take. Things like that are super important to us. But when I was thinking about this idea of simplifying, I was thinking, maybe this can help someone else. Maybe someone else is in this place of having a lot of things going on in their life. And the thing that you do not want to fall through the cracks, this is my personal opinion, but the thing that you do not want to fall through the cracks is when there's a lot of things going on in your life. Maybe it's kind of chaotic. Maybe it's a super busy season. Maybe it's a season in your life of transitioning to a new job or a new place or whatever the case may be. Spiritually, maybe you're in a different place. Some people have, a struggle with, the seasonal affective disorder and the, having less sunlight. And, we're all dealing with something different. But I can say this for most of us. I can't speak for you, but this is my belief. When you are in stressful situations or things that can be stressful, the last thing that we should do is drop the ball on nutrition. Why am I saying that? When it comes to managing our lives well and stewarding what we've been given, we can't not take preventative measures when it comes to our health and our wellness. And this isn't, to condemn anyone. Trust me, I'm speaking what I'm about to speak about. I'm speaking from experience of having so many different things going on and moving back and forth and all of the different things that come with our lives in particular. Is your health is so important, especially in times of stress. And the easiest thing to do is to put it to the side, even though it is the thing that affects you physically more than anything else. And that is what we are taking into our bodies. This is true spiritually, what we're looking at and what we are, allowing into our lives. Not just that, physically. The things that run this whole body, the fuel that we are putting in this body is so important. And what I see a lot, because this has happened to us, is when you don't prepare for really busy seasons, what ends up happening is you start making decisions regarding what you eat as almost like an afterthought. It's like, Christmas is coming around every year. We know this. Some of us still wait until the last minute to get gifts or to start thinking about gifts. I know people, I am not this person, but I know people who are very, very smart. I mean, you're not smart if you don't do this, but I don't feel that waiting to the last minute is the best thing to do. And I'm raising my hand over here because that's what I do. But I know some very, very smart people, like my husband's mom, my mom-in-law. She actually begins, and my sister-in-law as well, they start shopping for Christmas in January. Like, talk about getting a head start. And every Christmas, they give the most thoughtful gifts, and they put the time and the effort into it. Why? Because they knew that it was coming, right? Food, eating. Hello, we have to do this every day. Unless we are fasting, food in particular, this is something that we do every day. We know it's coming. It is not a surprise. Yet, we get to this place of, and I'm raising my hand because I have done this too, where I get so, if I'm making jewelry, I will go in my office and I'm in there for hours upon hours, especially if my husband's home and he can take our little boy and I can get some time to myself. I'm in there for hours upon hours. And I might have, I'm really good about drinking water. So I'll have a big stainless steel cup that I carry around of water. But I might not eat anything. Like, I may not stop to eat. And I'm not going to eat, while I'm working, because I just feel like that's not hygienic. But seriously, like, I will go hours and hours, and, once in a while, my husband will actually knock on the door and he's like, are you in there? Are you hungry? And he'll bring me like a snack, and I'll have to stop what I'm doing. But my point in saying this is we know that it's coming. We know that lunchtime's coming, breakfast is coming around, and dinner's coming around. And why is it that this is the area, or one of the areas, where most of us we'll just say, oh, we'll just go through the drive-thru. That's fine until it becomes a habit. And trust me, there have been seasons where we did a lot of eating from the fast food place. And, that was our life for a little bit. But things started to shift and change. And I'm talking about years ago, because we really can't just eat from any fast food place anymore because we have, food sensitivities and allergies and things like that. But seriously, it is the thing that we need support in the most, typically is the thing that we think about last. Or we use some convenient option that a lot of times may be convenient, but not the most nourishing thing that we can do for our body. And shouldn't we be nourishing our body, this thing that we're walking around in, literally? And we need it to function and carry out everything that God has called us to carry out. So that is one of the things I just wanted to give a couple of just simple ideas on how to actually nourish your body, give it what it needs, and not just that, not put this off, knowing that the time is going to come during the day where you're going to have to eat something, or you're going to have to feed someone else, or you're going to have to prepare something else. And why leave that to someone else when, for several reasons, it's better if you just go ahead and have a couple of things in place that can help you when you get to that place, so you're not Like, oh my goodness, it's Christmas again. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I got to get gifts again. Or obviously we know Christmas isn't all about gifts. Anyways, that's not what this podcast episode is about. So here are just a couple of things that I do that have really helped to simplify, so regardless of where we might be in the state or the states, this is one of the things that I do that it turns into a no-brainer. In anything that you can just kind of take some of the decision making out of the way, and you can remove, decision fatigue, because it is proven we do not make the best decisions under stress. I'm not going to give you exact stats because that's not what this episode is. So let me just jump right in with two of the easiest ways that I believe that you can make this a little easier on yourself when it comes to mealtime. And this is my meal planning method. Mind you, this is not meal. Notice I did not say meal prep because I did that for years and that's just not the place in life that I am. So what I have found to be easier is just my really, really simple meal planning method. And it is to have what I call theme days. So what does this look like? So practically, super, super simple. What I like to do is specific days of the week. Every week it might, shift or change what day I do this on, or what day we eat certain things on, but it follows the same exact method. So Mondays, I typically make 1 to 2 whole chickens. So I get them from Costco. I buy the 2 large organic chickens. It's usually about $25-26, which is excellent if you think about it, because they're usually about 3 pounds each. Sometimes they're usually between like 1.5 and 3.5 pounds roughly. So I buy 2 of those. On Sunday I roast one, and on Monday I roast one. I make one of them with, you will eat the quarters. My son likes the wing, and then the chicken breast, I literally just shred that up and I put it aside. All of the bones and everything I put in a Ziploc container and I pop it in the freezer. I'll tell you why I do that in a minute. The other chicken I roast by cutting it down the middle, and I spatchcock that. And what I'm talking about, you can actually find on my Instagram page, on the highlights. I think it says like foodie or something like that. I literally give the entire process of how I do this. So I'll take the next chicken, like I said, I'll cut it down the back, and it's called spatchcocking. And it just makes everything cook all like nice and evenly, and it makes the breast meat a lot juicier. So I put some coconut oil underneath the skin with some garlic cloves, some rosemary, some thyme. You can use dry seasonings, then drizzle it with a little bit more of melted coconut oil on the outside. If you eat ghee or butter, you can use that. Ghee would actually work better since it has the dairy solids taken out of and it won't burn in the oven. Anyways, you can do that. I cut up a ton of carrots and potatoes, and I pop that in the oven, and that is an entire meal. So I might put salad on the side once in a blue, or some steamed, broccoli or something like that. A lot of times I'll do collard, like a quick sauteed collard greens or kale or something like that. So that is a whole meal. So I don't know if you just heard everything that I did. Super, super simple. Basically, it's a roasted chicken with potatoes and carrots. The next one is just a plain, I usually put paprika on it, some garlic, some onion. For the other one, we eat those quarters that night. My son will eat the wing. And then I take all of the chicken. I just take 2 forks and I shred all the chicken breast off. I put that aside. I put the rest of the bones in a Ziploc bag, pop that in the freezer. So what ends up happening is I do the same thing with the other chicken, or the next week that I do this. I'll take the bones from both of those, pop those in the freezer, or just keep a bag in the freezer until I get to the point where I have enough to make my own bone broth. So like I said, this is actually on my Instagram. I will try to link it. I don't know if I can do that or not. I've never done it before, but I'll try to link it in the show notes of the process that I'm talking about. And if you're interested in me doing a full length video on this, let me know, and that will be the next YouTube video that I can do for you, so you can see exactly what I'm talking about if you're super visual like I am. But for now, I think it is in the highlights. Excuse me. So now, when Tuesday rolls around, I don't have to cook a thing. And I typically don't. So whether it's Tuesday or Wednesday, there's usually whatever was left over from the roasted chicken. We eat that for lunch the next day. And when Tuesday comes around, you can still cook something if you want to. And that can be something super quick, like this is something that I do too. It is, you can take whatever ground meat that you eat and just go ahead and cook that up. Literally takes 10 minutes. Grab some tortillas, a couple of cans of black beans, and, guacamole or whatever it is that you eat, shredded lettuce. And it is now Taco Tuesday. I do the same thing using that shredded chicken that I was talking about that I put aside. I go ahead and I take that and we use that for shredded chicken tacos. And that works best with the soft tortillas. We like the Siete brand, which is the almond flour, but you can use whatever flour tortilla you like. Just look at the ingredients, but like this episode isn't necessarily about that right now because that gets deep, and I'm just going to keep it super simple because that's kind of what I'm trying to do on this episode, trying to help you simplify. So the next theme would be a chili night. So the same day that you browned some meat, if you did that, if you browned meat for your tacos, hard tacos or soft tacos, reserve half of that meat. Yes, half. Reserve half of that meat, and you can make chili with that. Or you can make spaghetti with that. And this is a great way to cut down on cost. And if you're not big on eating a ton of meat, it's another way to cut down on that as well. And lastly, you're going to cut down on your grocery bill if you're splitting these in half. You can easily bulk up tacos by putting diced mushrooms in there. You could put shredded potato in there, just like a bag of hash browns. There's so many options, like it's ridiculous. But it's super simple to do it that way. And then the next night after that, the only thing that you would have to cook after you've made that big pot of chili is roast not a ton, but however many you're feeding in your family. And if you're carrying some of this for leftovers, you pop some. The only thing that you have to do is scrub potatoes and bake them or nuke them in the microwave, because we do that too. We will nuke them in the microwave, and you have a potato bar. And if you're familiar with like McAllister's Deli, if that's anywhere near you, I'm trying to think of another option. I think Jason's Deli does it too. But you get these massive baker potatoes, and then you just cover them with whatever you want. And chili on top of a potato is really awesome. And then you can bulk things up with, like really fun toppings. So I like to do a taco style one. So I'll take the taco meat, I'll put that on top. Or you can get some of the fajita mixed onions and peppers from the frozen section. Keep it simple, saute them in a little bit of olive oil, pop that on top of the potato. There's so many. You could do chili cheese. There's so many different options that you can do. And then just serve a steamed vegetable on the side. Grab something from the frozen section, and seriously, while your potatoes are in the oven, put those on a cookie sheet, drizzle them with a little bit of coconut oil, and roast them. They actually taste like they're fresh when they come out. They don't even taste like they're frozen. So those are just a couple of ideas. I can get really deep with this because I'm a foodie. But I wanted to just show you. And then the last thing that we do before I forget. So there should be about 2 days in there where you don't have to cook anything because of your leftovers. And then just kind of repurposing food. That sounds crazy. You get what I'm saying. You can iterate the meal that you've made into something new, and you can stagger the days. So you can swap the days. You don't have to do chicken 2 days in a row if you're cooking, at least 2 different proteins on one of those days. The last thing that I like to do is what I call fast food Friday. So fast food Friday sounds exactly like it sounds, but the fast food is actually coming from your own freezer. So what I like to do is there is a store, it's similar to Aldi, it's called Lidl, or some people say Lidl. And they're one of the few places I can find organic chicken wings. If you don't eat organic wings, totally fine. Get regular wings. You section them or buy them already sectioned and take out your air fryer. Seriously. And make 2 batches of wings. Give it enough space where they get nice and crispy. And then grab a bag of, I like the Alexia Yukon Gold natural cut potatoes, French fries or whatever. I pop those in the oven per the instructions whilst the wings are quote unquote air frying. I grab a bowl. I put 2 tablespoons of, I use this Nutiva brand of, it's like a vegetable shortening made with coconut and palm oil. I take, basically it's like margarine, but it's healthier. So I put 2 tablespoons of that in a bowl. I nuke that in the microwave. I add a 1/4 cup of Texas Pete, mix that around. Once those wings are done, I toss it around in the wing sauce. And then if your family likes, other condiments with it, like ranch or blue cheese or whatever your favorites are, and then carrots and celery, literally, that is dinner. And it's cheaper. We typically have leftovers, and whoever doesn't want sauce doesn't have to have sauce on their wings. So this is a different episode, and I really wanted to share that because when I hear people talking about, oh my goodness, what's for dinner, or what are we going to eat, and then they end up going through a drive-through, I feel like saying, no, wait, it's so much easier than that. So just to recap, theme days are exactly what they sound like. You have certain themes on certain days. So Mondays and Tuesdays, you can make Monday or Tuesday, you can make 2 different types of protein. You can skip a day of cooking. You can reuse something like chili or taco meat to have tacos on one night and then a potato bar on the next. Take whatever's left over from the chickens that you made, or if you made another protein that has bones, reserve those bones to save for later to make your own bone broth, which is super healthy and packed with glycine and protein. But we're not going to talk about that right now. I just wanted to get through all of that. And then on Friday, it is Fast Food Friday, where you don't actually go through the fast food place. You create your own fast food. This is a time where your kids can get in and help. If you don't like wings, you could always do a pizza night where everybody makes their own pizza, and all you have to do is buy the dough and the toppings, and people can literally cook their own food that night. Anyways, I hope that this was helpful. I just wanted, to share something that really, really helps us. Every week, I don't have to think about what I'm going to cook. I'm kind of robotic with it. I just pick up 2 chickens. I pick up, a couple of packs of like ground turkey or ground chicken. If you eat ground beef. I grab, I'm sorry. And I forgot one more. I knew I was going to do this. I wrote it down and I still did this. And lastly, breakfast for dinner, kind of brunch style. So I'll get a couple of potatoes, chop them up and dice them, pop those in the air fryer, make my own little hash browns, fry up a couple of eggs and some chicken sausage, and that is dinner. Or you could do pancakes. If you guys like waffles, you could do waffles. You get what I'm saying. It does not have to be complicated. Think about what your family, enjoys eating, and use that to create your own theme days. The easiest way for you to create your own theme days is to figure out what your family actually enjoys eating. If you don't know, the easiest way is to see, did they actually did they eat everything, or are there a ton of leftovers? That'll be a great gauge to figure out. I keep trying to get them to eat this one vegetable, what they won't. Find a vegetable that they will eat. And then for an entire week, if you didn't like any of these suggestions that I made, or you don't eat like this, or, you're like, oh, girl, I don't need help with this, or I don't need any ideas with this. Pinterest, that's what Pinterest is for. Which Pinterest is awesome. But all you have to do is, for an entire week, write down the meals that you had. And then for the next week, when you go grocery shopping, look at that and see if there's any way that you can tweak what your family actually ate, what you guys actually had, and build your next week off of those things. Then as you get into a groove, you can switch things up. But for now, just keep it simple. You don't have to go through the drive-thru for every meal. And you can create things, a system like this that would help you to make getting dinner on the table quicker, healthier, and the more you deal with your own food, the more that you know what's going in it. So I hope this was uncomplicated, and I hope that it was helpful. Until next time, your life matters, what you do with it matters. So what will you steward well?